the same y value.
The points all have the same y value. Now, if you see points that have the same y value, they must be on a horizontal line. Okay? Now, the line is actually defined by what that y value is. If y equals 5, then the line is at plus 5. If the line's at 10, the line's at plus 10. If the y value is negative 3, then the line's at negative 3. Alright, so the line is determined by what that y value is. So the equation is y equals the y value. So if the line is at y equals 3, the equation is y equals 3.
So this is it.
That's it. You don't care about the slope. The equation is always y equals whatever the y value is that's determining that horizontal line. Now, sometimes they may not tell you it's a horizontal line. Sometimes they may just give you 2 points that have the same y value. Same situation. The equation is just going to be y equals that number. Okay? So you don't have to do any work. You just have to determine that it's a horizontal line. So where's the one where they tell you it's horizontal? Is that number 7? If it's horizontal line, vertical. So how would vertical work? X equals the x value. Okay, where's horizontal? Okay.
Oops.
You have to put x.
Yeah, the line goes through 1/4 and is horizontal. Is what mine says. The line goes through 1/4 and is horizontal. Y equals 4. Y equals the y value. I should have wrote down vertical before I looked at the problem. Vertical works the same way, except it's with the x value. Okay? Now, be careful on the quizzes and on the, especially if we have a test over this stuff, which we will. Don't get the questions asking for the slope confused with the questions asking for the equation. Okay? Because a vertical line, if they ask you for the slope is undefined. If they have an equation, the equation is x equals something. So I see people mess those up all the time on the quiz just because you're not reading the question carefully enough and figuring out what exactly is it asking for. If it's asking for the slope, that's different than asking for the equation. Because I think there's number 11, like there's a variation of this one where it asks for the equation of a vertical line and one of the choices is undefined, and I see a lot of people choose that option. The slope is undefined, the equation still exists. Okay, so number 10, if it's a vertical line through the point 7, 2, my equation would be x equals
7.
7. If they said horizontal instead of vertical, it would be y equals negative 2. Okay?
It's always going to tell you if it's a vertical or horizontal.
Yeah, they'll always tell you, and so you either choose x or y. Now, actually that's
Semi-true.
semi-true.
Give
and
us.
I forgot where this problem went. So let me find it real quick. I didn't, I gotta get my points here, or else I'm gonna fail. I'm at 7.58%.
It's not that one. There's one.
Here it is. What do I notice about about those points?
Because it's exactly the same y value.
They have the same y value. Now, they don't tell me it's a horizontal line, but I know this must be a horizontal line because they have the same y value. Okay? So, if you notice that they have the same x value or the same y value, then it's horizontal or vertical. Okay? So, sometimes, not very often, sometimes they don't actually tell you. So, when I said yes, that's true, it's actually not true. But sometimes they'll give you the points and they expect you. Now, if you do all the work here, you'll still get the same answer. You'll just do a lot of work. But that would just be y equals 4. Now, on number 12, I actually can't cheat like that because these points are different. So I'd have to do the whole process there like number 9 where I found the slope, I found the point slope formula or whatever they asked for. Okay, so if you have your notes on those, they should be okay. Uh-oh, what's going on with number 14?
They both have the same x value.
They both have the same x value. This is the question I was talking about. On quizzes, I see a lot of people choose undefined for this one.
What is the equation of this?
It says what is the equation, not what is the slope. If it was what is the slope is undefined. But the equation would be x equals 1. So make sure you read those questions carefully. I know sometimes it's hard to keep everything straight in your head. That's what studying is for. Okay. What about number 15? Number 15 messes everybody up.
Oh, really? Slope intercept on the equation.
When you make determine the point.
Exactly. They're giving you 2 points here. They're just not telling you the 2 points in a way that sounds the same. Okay? So what I need to do here is say, well, what would the order's pairs be for these 2 points? If the x-intercept is -3,
It would be -3, 0.
then my point would be -3, 0. And if the y-intercept is +1,
0, 1.
that point would be 0, 1. Okay? Now you have your 2 points. So this is really the same problem that we've been doing. Yes?
Because you're not in the whiteboard, you're on the quiz or the homework, will that show up in your notes when you publish?
Do they want that like you've got it in parentheses? Is that the answer they want?
No,
Those are
you still
just
have to
simple.
find, you still have to find the equation on this one.
That's just how you find the points.
Okay.
That's how you determine what the points are that to use for your x1 and your y1 and your x2 and your y2. No, I'm not going to work this one out with you when I go on. But you guys can come back to that one in a minute. Now you can actually cheat on this one because what else do we know here?
Well, since that would be the slope, wouldn't it?
Well, you can, how could you find the slope?
Rise over run.
You can just count the rise and the run. And do you know B?
B.
B is the y-intercept.
B is the y-intercept, yeah. So they told you a lot of information here that you could really just kind of reason this one out. So don't do too much work on this one. Just try to, you can count the rise and the run to find the slope, and then you know what B is.
So would it be y equals mx plus b?
Yeah, and you just have to find M, which you can count, the rise and the run.
Okay.
B would be 1, the y-intercept.
That's not bad at all.
You can make it bad.
I was going to until you said that.
You want to make it bad? Okay, let's look at horizontal and not horizontal and vertical, parallel and perpendicular lines.
What is it called?
17.
Parallel and perpendicular lines.
Well, parallel lines have exactly the same slope.
But I gotta find the slope of the original line before I can do anything else. Okay? Now to do that, you may have to do some stuff to the original line. You may have to rearrange the original line. To y equals mx plus b. Because the only way you can see the slope or figure out what the slope is if you can see what m is. Okay? Let's do an example here if you guys want to write this down. Find the slope of the line 2x minus 3y equals 1.
Subtract 2x. You gotta get y by itself.
Now you cannot look at this and say what the slope is. Okay, the slope is not 2 because the number in front of x is 2. You can only say that when you have y equals mx plus b. Okay? So I have to get y equals before I can see what the slope is. Okay, so how can I get y equals here?
Subtract 2x because you gotta get y by itself.
I gotta get y by itself. Just like act like you're gonna graph it, you wanna get y by itself.
And then you gotta divide by 3.
Okay, so I gotta subtract that 2x over, and I get negative 3y equals 4 minus 2x. If I want to write it as negative 4 plus 2x, that's okay, but I usually leave it in the order I write it in. And I have to divide everything by negative 3. Now I like to divide on the right-hand side separately. So I divide 4 by negative 3. I divide negative 2 by negative 3. And what do I end up with here? Y equals negative 4 over 3 plus negative 2 over negative 3 becomes positive 2/3 x.
So your slope is 2/3 x.
Your slope is 2/3. Okay? So you've got to be able to rearrange those lines and find the slope, which means sometimes keeping all those negatives straight, which can be kind of a problem. Okay, now once I found the slope of my original line, what do I do with it?
You plug it into the y equals m.
You want to, well, not quite. You want to use that to figure out what the slope is of your parallel line or your perpendicular line. So I want to use the original slope to find the slope of my parallel or my perpendicular line. And you want to be careful about which one they're asking for. about what the slope of a parallel or a perpendicular line would be. A couple people have already said parallel lines have the same slope, which is true. So if your line is parallel, use the same slope. Same slope as the original. What about perpendicular lines? Reverse? What do you mean by reverse?
I know the reverse is on some. 3/2?
It's the reverse. It's the reverse that way, which is called the reciprocal. It's also the reverse of the sign.
Should be negative 3 over 2.
So you flip the fraction. And change the sign.
So it's the complete opposite on the number line.
Yes. The technical definition is that the product of the two should be -1. So like 2/3 times -3/2, the product is -1.
So, if you got the,
So what do we have for that example we just did? What was the slope
Can you go up a little bit?
here with 2/3?
yeah, 2/3, so you would, can you just reverse that? and
Flip the
put-
fraction and make it 3/2,
Uh-huh,
and change the sign.
so it would be negative,
-3/2 would be the slope of the perpendicular line.
okay.
Well, that gives you the slope, so this necessarily gives you the intercept. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
Okay. So parallel lines are easy. You just keep the same slope. Perpendicular lines, you need to flip the fraction. Sometimes they call it opposite reciprocal.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember
You
that.
guys heard that term? Reciprocal means you flip the fraction. Opposite means opposite sign.
What's the trick is that there's some places where it's, is it parallel or perpendicular? And you have to look at it.
Okay?
You already
Like
know.
if you are that one.
If you know they're parallel or perpendicular, you can just do it.
Now,
It's
it
easy.
seems like we've already done a lot of work here. But we actually haven't done anything yet. Because once you find your new slope, then you have to work the problem with your new slope and the point that they give you. Okay?
Oh. So you would plug the point that they give you into y equals mx plus b plus the new slope.
With your new slope. Okay? It's not that bad. Let's try a problem. Where's the problem?
It's 17.
17?
Right?
Okay, so let's kind of see what they're telling me here. The blue line there is the original line, which is y equals 5x. And the red line is the parallel line.
Yeah.
So the red line is your parallel line, and what they want is for me to find the equation of the parallel line, the red line. Okay? So what I need to do is, they give me a point on the red line, and that's the point I want to use. I just need to figure out what would the slope of the parallel line be.
That would be.
So my original line here is y equals 5x.
This is semi-tricky because the y-intercept is 0, so it doesn't come
Yeah,
up.
that kind of messes people up, but it really doesn't matter. You really don't care about the y-intercept of the original line. You only care about the slope.
It doesn't make it look like it's a y
It just happens to be
equal
0,
equation.
yeah.
So really, then if you counted, you would count from 0 down to be a negative 1, 2. No, you can't do that.
Nope. My original line is 5x. What is the slope?
5x. Or 5. Yeah.
The slope is 5. Because it's mx. It's really mx plus b. b is just 0. have the same slope. The slope would still be 5. And the point that they give me on that parallel line is 2, -2. Okay? So now you have to do the problem where you find the equation with a slope of 5 and a point of 2, -2. Now we know how to do that. That's what we've been doing. You just have to do a little background work before you start that problem. So how would we find the equation with a slope of 5 and this point?
We'd fill in y equals mx plus b with all the data we've gathered.
Are you guys okay if I continue to do the method that I prefer? Mx plus b, is that okay? Okay, so I'm going to take my parallel information, which is that the slope is 5, the point is 2, -2, and that's just the point that they labeled on my graph. That means they want me to use that point. So my y is -2, my slope is 5, my x is 2, plus b. -2 equals 10 plus b. B would be -12. So my final equation for my parallel line would be y equals 5x minus 12.
That's because it asks for an equation, not simply the slope or the intercept.
Right. On this homework, they're always asking for an equation.
Okay, so will you go up just a little bit and explain that one more time to me? The slope is a 5x?
My original equation was 5x, which means the slope of that line is 5, which is mx.
Okay.
The slope of that original line is 5. If they want me to draw a parallel line, then the slope would be the same, so the slope would also be 5.
And the point,
And the point they give me is the point that is labeled.
okay.
So I use that slope and that point.
That's not the answer. Yeah, it's write an equation for line L, the point slope line.
What was point slope form?
Y minus
Y1 equals
M times X minus X1.
Yeah.
If they ask you for point slope form, I didn't think it was this question that asked for point slope form. I'm not reading the question carefully enough. Point slope form is y minus y1. I have y minus, what was y1? -2 equals 5 times x minus 2. So all I would do there is split my minus -2 to y plus 2 equals 5 times x minus 2. That's the point slope form.
So would it accept a negative -3, you think?
I don't know.
Or 2, I suppose.
We can try that. Will it accept the double negative? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's
You
exactly what I'm
just
saying.
have to put it in double parentheses.
You just put it in parentheses.
Yeah, double.
So it won't accept if you just type it like that, but I think if you put it in parentheses, it will accept it. I personally just always flip it. I don't know. To me, it just looks weird.
Yes, it will accept
And it's
it.
easier to type the +2 than minus with parentheses. But yeah, it will accept the double negative if you put it in parentheses. Now in slope-intercept form, we already found that.
But you can't do like plus y, so it would accept y plus x, or y times x.
Bless you.
If you want to try 18 or 20, those are both good.
What did you get for your point slope form? Oh, I see what I did. I think.